Oscar Man 42, One Career Nomination, Part 2, Take 5. In a previous video, I talked about actors who received one Oscar nomination during their entire careers. At the conclusion of the video, I asked for your suggestions of those who I should discuss in a follow-up, and as usual, you offered some great recommendations. I'm Michael, aka Oscar Man, and for Part 2 on this topic, I'm going to continue reviewing those one career nominees in the lead actor and actress categories, beginning with a lady whose name you most often mentioned.
They are not long, the days of wine and roses. Out of a misty dream, our path emerges for a while, then closes within a dream.
In what was arguably one of the most competitive years in the Best Actress category, Lee Remick received her one career nomination for her memorable performance as Kirsten in 1962's Days of Wine and Roses.
I want to be where people live. I don't want any of your mealy-mouthed, holier-than-thou do-gooder Boy Scouts with their hot coffee and their cold feet. I don't want anybody who doesn't have the guts to take a drink. Now go away. Go away.
The film, directed by Blake Edwards, told the story of a married couple both battling alcoholism and how it takes its toll on their marriage. An honest depiction of the disease, Days of Wine and Roses didn't pretty up its story with a happy ending, which Warner Brothers fought hard to change. Jack Lemmon, in one of his finest performances, immediately left for Paris after filming was completed so that the studio could not reshoot the ending they wanted. Trivia: do you know which popular song was inspired by Days of Wine and Roses? Stay tuned until the end to find out. Lee Remick was nominated for a BAFTA and Golden Globe in addition to the Oscar, and she assumed the role originally performed on television's Playhouse 90 by Oscar-nominated actress Piper Laurie. Considered a long shot up against the likes of Bette Davis, Katharine Hepburn, and Geraldine Page, she lost Best Actress to Anne Bancroft in The Miracle Worker. After making her Broadway debut at the age of 18, Lee Remick appeared in several television dramatic programs before making her film debut in 1957's A Face in the Crowd, followed by such movies as Anatomy of a Murder, The Omen, and Tribute, where she was again paired with Jack Lemmon. Remick was considered for the role of Beth Jarrett in Ordinary People. She would have been great in the part. Nominated for 7 Emmys and the winner of 2 Golden Globe Awards, Lee Remick's enduring career and strong screen presence were silenced when she died from cancer in 1991 when she was only 55.
Where do you come from?
This time, Modesto, California.
Then you know the rules.
The rules? You like keep your front room picked up? Don't sit around in your bathrobe after 10 o'clock in the morning. Don't mess with a married man.
That's part of it. The rest of it is, we got a Rhodes Scholar, we got a homosexual, we've got marijuana growing in with the tomatoes. We've got a man who wears his wife's nightgown. We're in the mainstream.
A handsome leading man in films and television for over 50 years, James Garner appeared in a variety of genres, including westerns, winning 2 Emmys, 3 Golden Globes, as well as the recipient of the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. Yet Garner was only Oscar nominated once for his performance in the 1985 romantic comedy Murphy's Romance.
You are a miserable little son of a bitch. You know that? I don't know why she took you in the house. I'd bed you down with the dogs. And I'll tell you something else, mister. You may be a lot younger and stronger, but you're about to get your ass kicked from here to the state line. And I'm wearing the boots that can do it.
As a small-town pharmacist unexpectedly finding himself romantically involved with a younger divorcee, played by Oscar winner Sally Field, James Garner's usual charm was on display in a role that didn't necessarily challenge the talents he displayed in some of his other work. However, that's not to imply that he wasn't at his best, according to Field, who later claimed that Garner gave her the best on-screen kiss she ever had. The actress also insisted on Garner as her co-star, though Columbia Pictures wanted Marlon Brando. James Garner's film career consisted of roles in The Great Escape, Victor Victoria, and The Notebook, though he was perhaps better known to television audiences for the series Maverick and The Rockford Files. Affable and proficient in both dramatic and light comedic roles, I think James Garner's Oscar nomination may have been in recognition of his overall career up to that point. His competition included Harrison Ford, Jack Nicholson, and Jon Voight, all of whom lost to William Hurt in Kiss of the Spider-Woman. In his autobiography, The Garner Files, the actor chose his performance in the Americanization of Emily as his favorite. James Garner died in 2014 at the age of 86.
Who's going to help me here in the house? And in the field? Well, maybe by that time your dad'll be back. It's all right with him, it's all right with me.
1972 Sounder was based on the 1969 novel about an African-American sharecropper family and their struggles through the Great Depression. As Rebecca, the family's strong matriarch, Cicely Tyson earned her one Oscar nomination for what was likely her most famous role. Its prospects viewed with much skepticism at the time, Sounder proved to be a critical and financial success, released during a period where films featuring African American actors consisted of mostly exploitative themes. Sounder was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, and Cicely Tyson won several Critics' Awards in addition to a Golden Globe nomination. Her Best Actress nomination came 18 years after Dorothy Dandridge became the first African American nominated in the category. And finding herself in another really competitive year, Tyson was nominated with Diana Ross in Lady Sings the Blues, Maggie Smith in Travels with My Aunt, and Lee Ullman in The Immigrants. They all lost the award to Liza Minnelli in Cabaret. Cicely Tyson was a highly regarded actress who began her career on television in the early 1960s, becoming at the time the only African American actor on a regular series, East Side, West Side, where she played a social worker. Cicely Tyson's first credited film appearance was in 1966's A Man Called Adam, and she followed up Sounder with such films as Fried Green Tomatoes and The Help. But perhaps her most widely acclaimed performance was for 1974's The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, which brought the actress 2 of her 3 Emmys. Tyson also won a Tony for the revival of A Trip to Bountiful, the film that won Geraldine Page her 1 Oscar. The recipient of the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award, the Kennedy Center Honor, Presidential Medal of Freedom, and an honorary Oscar, Cicely Tyson died in 2021 at the age of 96.
David Lee,
Yes, sir.
you had a rough time out there tonight, so you stay home from that school tomorrow.
But I want to go.
You learning anything at that school?
Yes, sir.
Speaking of Sounder, Cicely Tyson's co-star Paul Winfield was also Oscar nominated for his role as Nathan Lee Morgan, a man falsely jailed for theft.
Oh. This cake sure is tasty. It's a shame they won't let them come in here. If I had the strength, I'd knock down these damn walls just so I could get my arms around your mama. Just... They on this side of us, do you think?
At the time, only the 3rd African American to be nominated for Best Actor, The first were Sidney Poitier and James Earl Jones. Paul Winfield's performance in Sounder was lauded for his depiction of a man holding his family together with honesty and dignity. Yet his Oscar nomination was considered a surprise in a year filled with performances from the likes of such well-known actors as Michael Caine, Laurence Olivier, and Peter O'Toole, none of whom had a chance against the winner, Marlon Brando, in The Godfather. A member of the famed actor's studio, Paul Winfield's first on-screen credit came with 1969's The Lost Man, following his nominated performance in Sounder with films including Conrack, Star Trek II, and The Terminator. He also appeared in more than 50 television series and films, his last being a 2003 TV version of Sounder in which he played the teacher. Nominated for 4 Emmys and the winner of 1, Paul Winfield was ill for many years with diabetes and suffered a fatal heart attack in 2004 at the age of 64.
Who are those women?
Those women? I would call them the rear guard.
How can they keep pace with the men?
Sometimes they catch up with them, and sometimes they don't. And very often when they do, they find their men dead.
Those women must be mad.
I don't know. You see, they love their men.
A screen legend for 60 years, Marlene Dietrich mesmerized film audiences with her unapologetic, provocative persona, beginning in her native Germany and moving on to work in the United States, where she received her one career nomination in Morocco, directed by her longtime collaborator, Josef von Sternberg.
May I have this? Of course.
Based on a novel entitled Amy Jolly, Morocco's story of a love affair between a cabaret singer and a legionnaire is most famously known for Marlene Dietrich's scene dressed as a man, singing When Love Dies to a female patron who she then kisses. This scene was reportedly added to the script at Dietrich's suggestion. Morocco was made during the pre-code era, where censors did not interfere. It was considered very scandalous, which likely helped propel the film to great box office success. Co-starring Gary Cooper, who received top billing, Morocco solidified Marlene Dietrich's star status following her acclaimed role in The Blue Angel, her first sound film, which wasn't released in America until after Morocco. Though nominated for 4 Oscars, Morocco did not win any. Dietrich competed with Irene Dunne, Anne Harding, and Norma Shearer, all losing to Marie Dressler in Min and Bill. It's hard to imagine that Marlene Dietrich only received 1 Oscar nomination and was never voted an honorary award by the Academy. However, the 1982 documentary on the star's life was Oscar nominated. Marlene Dietrich stated that receiving the United States Medal of Freedom for her efforts during the war was her proudest accomplishment. Among her best-known performances are Destry Rides Again, Judgment at Nuremberg, and Witness for the Prosecution, the latter which many believed would bring her a second Oscar nomination. The iconic star died in 1992 at the age of 90.
I was in love with a girl. She married another man.
I was wondering, young chap like you burying himself here. The other doctors was always old.
Well, that was part of it. There were lots of other things. It's a pretty stale story. The way things were going, I sort of got fed up. So I decided to look for another way. Simple life. Simple things.
Johnny Belinda is one of my favorite films. The 1948 drama, based on a true-life event, won its star Jane Wyman the 1948 Best Actress Oscar. Her co-star Lou Ayres also was nominated for lead actor, which was his only career nomination.
And all those other things happened. The war, all that came after, made me lose faith in everything. Myself, too.
Belinda. Belinda, you must help me.
In the story of a deaf mute who is raped and gives birth to her son, Lou Ayres gave a touching performance as Dr. Richardson, the man who teaches Belinda sign language. Their friendship causes a stir in the small Nova Scotia village, whose denizens believe the doctor is the father of the baby. Though Johnny Belinda was a tour de force for Jane Wyman, the film also scored 12 total nominations, including 3 others for its cast, including Ayres. The veteran actor made 60 films before receiving his one and only acknowledgement by the Academy, where he was nominated alongside Montgomery Clift, Dan Daly, and Clifton Webb, all of who lost Best Actor to Laurence Olivier in Hamlet. But that didn't stop Lou Ayres' career, which consisted of numerous guest appearances in various television series, including Columbo, Little House on the Prairie, and The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Honored with 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and once the husband of Oscar winner Ginger Rogers, Lou Ayres died in 1996 at the age of 88.
1 minute later, I leave the bathroom, and a minute after that, you enter the bathroom. Now, that's when I'm starting to dress. 3 minutes later, I'm having my coffee, and a minute after that, at 7:12, you leave the bathroom. At 7:13, I put on my eggs, and I leave to finish dressing. Then you put on your shoes and take off my eggs at 7:16.
Known as the queen of screwball comedies of the 1930s and 40s, Jean Arthur was a popular and respected leading lady who became a top box office draw. However, she only received 1 Oscar nomination as Best Actress for 1943's The More the Merrier.
Of course, you don't realize that Mr. Pendergast is the type man who has twice been to the White House to dinner.
Worst food in Washington.
Well, the president?
Yes.
I'll bet the president's wife calls him by his first name sometimes.
You look messy.
Huh?
Don't you ever brush your hair?
I suppose Mr. Pendergast combs his hair every hour on the hour.
Mr. Pendergast has no hair.
In the romantic comedy, directed by Oscar winner George Stevens, Arthur starred as Constance Milligan, who rents half of her apartment to a retired millionaire played by Charles Coburn, who won Best Supporting Actor for his performance. Calamity ensues when the millionaire sublets his half to a soldier, Joel McCrae. What follows is mistaken identity, the FBI, and, well, best to watch the film for how it all turns out. Jean Arthur began her film career during the silent era and starred in dozens of movies, including You Can't Take It With You, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and The Devil and Miss Jones, before finally earning her Oscar nomination for The More the Merrier. Frustrated by her encounters with Harry Cohn, the tyrannical head of Columbia Pictures, Arthur fulfilled her contract and left the studio, only making 4 more films, the last being the Oscar-winning Shane in 1953. The actress came out of retirement to star in her own self-titled television comedy series, but it lasted only 12 episodes. Jean Arthur was notoriously private, often compared to Garbo due to her aversion to granting interviews and divulging much about her private life. Trivia. Jean Arthur was to star in the Broadway version of Born Yesterday, but quit the production due to her insecurity on stage, opening the door for Judy Holliday to land the part of Billy Dawn, and you know how that went at the Oscars years later. Jean Arthur died in 1991 at the age of 90.
Come to me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. Yes, it's true. Only he can deliver me from this place.
Okay, I had to throw in an obscure one, though Oscar nerds will likely be familiar with it. Luis Buñuel, the famed Spanish director, helmed the 1954 adaptation of the Robinson Crusoe novel into a successful film, which starred Dan O'Harely in his Oscar-nominated performance as the title hero.
Ready. Ready. Forgive me, Friday, forgive me. I want you to be my friend. I will never leave here. But if you want to go, do so. Tilly, Takati.
Several challenges were presented during the making of Robinson Crusoe. First, the studio United Artists wanted Orson Welles to star. However, director Buñuel refused because he felt Welles was, quote, too loud and too fat, unquote, and cast Dan O'Harely instead. Robinson Crusoe was Buñuel's first all-English film, though the script was allegedly used only during the first week of production, wherein the director and his leading man engaged in conversations about the story thereafter, creating their own screenplay. Robinson Crusoe was positively received and was a moneymaker for the studio. Dan O'Harely, of Irish descent, began his career on stage in his native country before landing his first film role in 1948's Macbeth, directed by, ironically, Orson Welles. O'Harely continued working in films until 1990, but he was perhaps better known to American audiences for his many television appearances in such series as Bonanza, L.A. Law, and Twin Peaks. Dan O'Harely died in 2005 at the age of 85.
Just where we'll go first, I don't know, and it don't matter. Because after we go to that place, we're going on to another. Alaska, China, Iceland, South America, traveling on trains, riding a rip on motorcycles, flying all over the world in airplanes. We will have thousands and thousands of friends. We belong to so many clubs that we can't even keep track of them all. We will be members of the whole world. Firemen! Man of arms! Idols!
The Member of the Wedding was a 1952 adaptation of the successful play by Carson McCullers, featuring its original cast of Oscar nominees Ethel Waters, Brandon DeWilde, and Julie Harris, the latter nominated for Best Actress for her performance as Frankie.
To me, it is the irony of fate, the way they come here. Those moths could fly anywhere. Yet they keep hanging around the windows of this house. I told Bernice I was leaving town for good. But she did not believe me. Sometimes I honestly think she's the biggest fool that ever drew breath. You try to impress something on a big fool like that, and it's just like talking to a block of cement.
Julie Harris was 27 years old when she made her film debut as 12-year-old Frankie Adams, a tomboy in the midst of her awkward transition into womanhood. The poignant drama featured a memorable performance by Ethel Waters as Frankie's housekeeper and trusted confidant. The film, however, was not a success, and Columbia Pictures studio head Harry Cohn laid the blame on Julie Harris, of whom he said, quote, "She scares small children," unquote. Even with no support from Cohn, Harris managed a nomination. But I can't blame her for not showing up to the ceremony, as she was up against Betty Davis, Joan Crawford, and Susan Hayward. And none of them had a hope in hell, given the winner was Shirley Booth for her outstanding performance in Come Back, Little Sheba. As many of you know, my all-time favorite winner in the category. Julie Harris's filmography consisted of 24 more credits, most notably East of Eden. But it was her theater and television work which brought her the most acclaim. Harris is among a handful of actors to win 3 of the major entertainment awards, among them 5 Tonys and a special Lifetime Achievement Tony, a Grammy, and 3 Emmys. She was also the recipient of the Kennedy Center Honor and was inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame. Julie Harris died in 2013 at the age of 87. A screen legend whom any moviegoer would think had more than one Oscar nomination to his credit is coming up. But first, let me briefly say thanks to you for watching this video. You know, nobody gets us Oscar nerds, but we get each other. And that's why I created the channel, as a gathering place for us to talk about an award that is internationally known, yet subject to much debate over his decisions. If you can, please like, comment, share, etc. so more Oscar nerds can join us for weekly videos and vote in the daily polls.
No, it isn't that either.
Tell us about it, Joe.
Yeah. Well, you notice how different the band sounded with that guy, Turby Lehman?
Yeah, that's good.
Lola's kind of like that. If you put her into a room with the most beautiful dames in the world, she's the one you'd see, that's all.
I always wanted to be Gene Kelly, or at least dance like him. Athletic, yet graceful, Gene Kelly was the personification of a man who could do it all. Singer, dancer, actor, choreographer, director. Charming on screen, but difficult in real life, Kelly's performances always looked effortless. And while he was a major star for decades, he was only Oscar nominated once, for 1945's Anchors Aweigh.
Well, the kind of girl I like's a very definite kind of a girl. Take, for example, the one I know here in Los Angeles.
You mean Lola?
What? Well, yeah, take her then. Nothing serious about her. I mean, nothing serious. Strictly for laughs.
Third billed behind Frank Sinatra and Katherine Grayson, Gene Kelly's role as Sailor Joe Brady was abetted by MGM giving him a free hand with the film's choreography, which resulted in the iconic number in which his co-star was Jerry the Mouse. The scene, which combined live action with animation, likely catapulted Kelly to star status, following his appearance in several musicals, including For Me and My Gal and Do Barry Was a Lady. Anchors Aweigh featured 17 musical numbers and was nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. And though Gene Kelly lost Best Actor along with Bing Crosby, Gregory Peck, and Cornel Wilde to Ray Milland in The Lost Weekend, Kelly's career as a leading man was solidified in films such as On the Town, one of my favorites, An American in Paris, Singin' in the Rain, and Brigadoon. As a director, Kelly's credits included Invitation to the Dance and Hello, Dolly. Okay, nobody's perfect. Though Gene Kelly may have hit his creative peak in the 1950s, his choreography in later years included parts 1 and 2 of That's Entertainment and, well, yeah, Xanadu. Gene Kelly was Oscar nominated once, but he was the recipient of many awards, including an honorary Oscar in 1952, the Cecil B. DeMille Award presented at the Golden Globes, Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Kennedy Center Honors, American Film Institute, and Screen Actors Guild, induction into the American Theater Hall of Fame, and awarded the National Medal of Arts. Known as a tough and demanding taskmaster who expected nothing less than perfection from himself and those who worked with him, Gene Kelly's legacy in film will continue to entertain generations. His final curtain call came in 1996 at the age of 83. So what do you think of these one career nominations? Were they worthy of a win? Should the actors mentioned have received more than one nod from the Academy? Share your thoughts in the comments. And until we meet again, 1971's Ain't No Sunshine, written and performed by Bill Withers, was inspired by the film Days of Wine and Roses. As Withers stated, quote, "Sometimes you miss things that weren't particularly good for you," unquote.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away, anytime she goes away, anytime she goes away.